course, a bunch of people are like, rich people pretending to be poor, they get what they deserve.
What?
Because it's so expensive to go.
Yeah.
And it's mostly turned into like...
I mean, I feel like people have been saying that since we went.
Yeah, but it was even more true when we went than the time before I went. Like when the first time I went, there wasn't turnkey camps and all that.
That makes sense.
And there wasn't areas where they literally were like, you can't go because you're not elite enough.
Some more flash floods, huh?
Yeah. Oh, well, they knew about it. Like, it was, like, known that it was, like,
Man.
there were storm warnings.
Dust storm and flash floods.
Yeah, like, really bad.
That sucks.
Like, really bad. Yeah. Like I said, like, the first day, like, things just got destroyed.
That sucks.
Also, the temple just looks awful anyways. It doesn't look all, like, serene. It just looks foreboding and, like, very, like...
Oh, that's really brutalist for a temple.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it'd be a cool thing for something else, but it's the temple.
You know what that'd be good for?
And it just looks like...
That'd be good for the orgy dome.
Sure, but it doesn't it just look very like corporate and like menacing and shit?
Yeah.
And then like it does light up. It's got like cracks that line up in it. It would be a cool art piece, but not for the fucking temple.
It looks like a location in a video game.
Sure, but like for the temple, it just doesn't look good.
It looks like a location you would go to in one of the newer Doom games.
Sure. But not, it's like, this is a place where people go to, like, mourn and let things go and stuff.
I know.
And it just looks very, like, corporate.
Yeah.
But, yeah, apparently they got it back up. But anyways, apparently it's a shit show. Also, apparently, though, if you want to go, like, they've been really, there's always, like, ticket cheaper. You can get cheaper tickets now.
It's easier to go now.
Well, just because a lot of people aren't going because it's been a shit show.
Yeah.
Just, like, weather-wise. But then other people who have been there have been like, no, it's been awesome because it's not overcrowded. For the people who held out and stayed, they're like, it's even better. So who knows?
Yeah.
I just like all the memes that are coming out. It's funny, especially about the orgy dome. It's just funny.
I mean,
also that it's not a dome.
Yeah.
I think it used to be.
I mean, I assume there's a lot of memes about it being flaccid and all of that.
Yeah, it's just funny.
It just didn't stay up long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times. Welcome, everyone, to Streaming Screams.
And our second annual spooky season super scary Screamtacular.
I am Glenn. I'm here with Jessica.
Hello.
And we are going to talk about some horror. Today, we are going to be talking about once absolutely reviled and now having gained a significant cult following, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Released in 1982, written by Tommy Lee Wallace, directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, starring Tom Atkins as Dr. Dan Chalice. He is a hard-working doctor who is having a rocky relationship with his ex-wife and kids. He is a shameless flirt and a total ladies' man. I mean, this guy, dude, he's seriously just every chick in this movie. This guy slays pussy like it's his job, man.
Not his wife.
Oh. Also an alcoholic, which is funny. I always like every time I watch this movie, I kind of like notice that, but then forget about it immediately.
Sure.
Also, Stacey Nelkin as Ellie Grimbridge. Having recently lost her father under bizarre circumstances, she goes with Dr. Chalice to Santa Mira to figure out why her dad was murdered. Dan O'Hare... How do I pronounce that? Herlihy?
O'Hurley?
But there's like a second H in there.
Yeah, but it's an Irish name. I think it's O'Hurley.
Oh, yeah, there's always a bunch of unused letters in Irish names. Dan O'Hurley as Connell Cochran, the owner of Silver Shamrock Novelties. He's an old toy maker who used to be well known for practical gags such as sticky toilet paper, which honestly sounds like something that would really piss me off.
Yes. That sounds awful. Like, how sticky are we talking? Like...
It's like that old meme of the puppet from Saw drawn on a piece of paper next to a toilet paper roll with like a roll of duct tape on it.
Oh, yeah.
Then we've got the Kopfer family with Ralph Straight as Buddy, Jadine Barber as Betty, and Brad Schaefer as Little Buddy. Buddy is a Silver Shamrock salesman who has brought his family with him to meet Mr. Cochran for some business dealings, and they're very excited about this trip. We've got Garn Steffens as Marge Gutman, a department store owner who sells Silver Shamrock masks at her store. She is there because of an order mishap so she's a little less enthusiastic about being there. And finally, we've got Dick Warlock as the assassin, and he's not really a character. I couldn't actually tell you which person he is, but what a great fucking name.
I think he's the main gray suit guy.
The one from the beginning, or the one that keeps popping up?
No, the one that keeps popping up.
Okay. Yeah, what an awesome name. Dick Warlock. Usually I don't necessarily watch through the credits, and this time I did for some reason, and Katie was with me, and both of us just locked in on that and started laughing at the same time. We were like, Dick Warlock, what a great name.
Yeah. It's worth mentioning that she's not a main person in this, but Tom Atkins' ex-wife,
Oh, yeah?
who is Nancy Keys, is Annie from the first.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I can totally hear the voice, but man, she looks different.
I recognized her instantly.
Really?
Yeah. She's older. She's not a child anymore, like at early 20s anymore, but I recognized her instantly. Are they divorced? You said ex-wife in the thing, but they have the same last name. I don't know.
As far as I can tell, it's ex-wife.
Maybe separated.
Maybe
They
separated.
just have the same last name.
Yeah, yeah. So the first two Halloween movies have these really iconic pumpkin sequences at the beginning. You know, we just hear the music, and for the first movie, we just see this pumpkin and the camera's pulling forward on it. Second movie, kind of similar, but then the pumpkin opens up to a skull. This movie takes a different direction with that and slowly shows the development of a digital pumpkin on either a television screen or a computer screen. I'm guessing computer screen.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's being like created as we watch it. Yeah.
But also TVs had the line thing, but
True.
who knows?
Yeah. But it's interesting because you don't actually know what you're looking at for a minute, unlike the other iconic pumpkin intros where you know exactly what it is. But it is also funny because the music here is completely different. At no point do we hear the Halloween theme, which makes sense because this movie is completely separate from the Michael Myers movies, which is why it was so widely derided at first.
Because of Michael not being in it?
Yeah.
Well, it's also because they didn't advertise that. That was the main problem.
Oh, well, yes, sure. I am sure they did not promote it as like turning the series into an anthology, which is, I believe, what they were going for.
If you want, we can go over it.
Yeah, go for it.
I originally thought that it was always planned to be an anthology, which is not true.
What was the actual deal with it?
Halloween was a one-off idea by producer Irwin Yablans, and then he hired John Carpenter and his girlfriend to write it, but he came up with the babysitter murder stuff.
Interesting.
Not John Carpenter.
Huh.
John Carpenter and his girlfriend, Deborah Hill, were just, they were hired to write it and to direct it. And then that movie did like super well, and Carpenter and Hill didn't want to do a second one, but were convinced to. And part of the contract of the second one was that if that did well, they would make a third movie. And then the second one didn't do as well as the first movie, but it did well enough that they were going to go ahead with the third movie. But Carpenter and Hill were both like, well, Michael's story's over, so we have absolutely no interest in doing that.
Yeah.
So Hill was the one that came up with the idea for it to be an anthology series.
Okay.
And she wanted it to be like Twilight Zone, where it was just kind of different and like weird. She's also the one that came up with the idea that it would be witchcraft met the digital age,
right?
And with computers. And then they didn't want to write it though. So it went back and forth between like some directors and writers. Joe Dante was actually supposed to direct it at first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then he left for the Twilight Zone movie.
Yeah, not wacky enough for him, huh?
No, he just got a better deal. So, other than John Carpenter did end up doing some rewrites and stuff, but the studio's whole thing was just to make sure that it kept with the witchcraft and computers. That was like the thing they wanted to stick with. But
interesting.
Yeah. And then, it didn't do good because when they advertised it, it was just that it's a Halloween 3. No mention.
I mean, how would you even advertise? How would you even advertise this in a way that obfuscates the fact that it's not connected to
because they just show the kids like trick-or-treating and shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's so whack.
Yeah.
Advertising, man.
Yeah, and they're like, that's the reason most people were bad. Like, people would, I mean, they might not have liked it still, but I think people would have taken it better if they weren't expecting a Michael Myers movie.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Yeah. So it's actually funny because the writers, too, there's actually 3 writers to this movie, but John Carpenter and the other writer didn't want their names on it. So the director, he actually only did rewrites on it, but is named as the the writer.
Bunch of crazy shit with this movie. So after the digital pumpkin intro, in Northern California, a man is being chased by men in suits. He runs into a gas station, clutching a pumpkin Halloween mask and begging for help before passing out. The attendant takes the man to the hospital, and I do think that this scene does some cool setup and foreshadowing. The attendant is watching a news report on the theft of a stone weighing several tons from Stonehenge, which has experts and authorities baffled. The news report cuts to a commercial for Silver Shamrock novelty Halloween masks, and we first get that song that's going to plague us through the entire damn thing.
Yeah. Which also, Deborah Hill has a lot to do with both the first, like all three of the first Halloweens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's actually kind of fucked up that it's called like John Carpenter's movie because she like had just as much to do with all of it. But so like she's the one that decided that the tune is London Bridge is Falling Down for the song because it's they wouldn't have to worry about accidentally doing something copywritten because they wanted a basic tune that would be
easy to memorize and get stuck in your head.
So yeah, it's London Bridge is Falling Down.
Yeah. Yeah, although I will forever hear it as the Silver Shamrock commercial.
But yeah, she's the one that chose that. She's the one that chose the topic of this. And yeah, she helped write the original Halloween and all that. Interesting too, she was John Carpenter's girlfriend in the first movie, but then they already broke up by the second movie and still were working together. John Carpenter by now was already like married to his first wife.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So they just had a good working relationship.
Yeah.
Which, just going to drop this here, the gardener is here. So if you hear some buzzing in the background, that is probably a leaf blower, it sounds like.
Yes.
From here, Dr. Dan Chalice stops at the home of his ex-wife and 2 children. He is late, which seems to be both normal and a source of tension with his ex. As a gift, he brings his kids several Halloween masks, but they are disappointed and show him the Silver Shamrock masks that his ex has already gotten them. At the same time, a Silver Shamrock commercial comes on TV talking about the big giveaway on Halloween night as Dan's beeper goes off and he's called to the hospital. Man, he and his wife don't like each other.
That was a trope at this time.
Yeah. It's very like that sort of trope about everybody hating their spouse.
You know, like, why are you married?
Well, in this case, they're not anymore, or at least on their way out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I maybe it's easy for us to say because we both got married later in life.
No, but just in standard nowadays, it's not normal to be like, I hate my spouse.
Right. It is always funny, like, you know, our every once in a while you still get one of these jokes like at work or around the neighborhood or something like that. And I'm always like, can't imagine talking about Katie like this.
Yeah.
You know, for reasons I won't go into on the show, but just based on a conversation with friends about their woes recently. Mm-hmm. You know, I actually sat down with Katie and I was just like, hey, I properly express my love for you, right? like you don't ever feel neglected, yeah? You know, and her response to that was not just to say yes, but also to be like, and you feel the same way.
Yeah.
You know, like we weren't even having any issues, but just basically witnessing something that sucks. We both did sit down and just be like, hey, let's check in real quick. Make sure we're still like, you know, feeling good about our relationship, which we are. Katie's the best. Like I said, I could not imagine talking about her the way I hear some people, particularly older folks, talk about their spouse. I have to cut that out for being too mushy. So at the hospital, Dan's patient is the one who was being chased earlier. Dan talks to the gas station guy while another Silver Shamrock commercial comes on one of the TVs, which wakes up the patient who's all like, they're going to kill us all. Dan sedates him and puts him to bed to recover before going to take a nap in the doctor's lounge. Oh, yeah. Man, the way that he flirts with the nurse in this scene would have gotten his ass so fired today. It is funny because she's actually pretty receptive to it, but it's funny to see like.
Well, they already know each other.
They do already know each other, but it is funny to see like how differently some things were, you know, just what may have been more acceptable.
Yeah.
Back then. Like I know when I was young, and I mean like young, people would flirt at work all the time. But like, you know, when you've got a bunch of like 16 and 17-year-olds working at a pizza joint, you know, and everybody's got those hormones flying and all that.
True.
Absolutely. 40-year-old man smacking a nurse's butt and saying, I should have married you instead.
Yeah.
Would not fly today. She loves it, though. She's like,
Well,
you better watch it. I play for keeps.
Well, if they've had an affair or anything, or if she's into it, she probably wouldn't get fired because if nobody else is around.
Yeah. Which it doesn't sound like they had an affair.
Yeah.
Which is not what I'm going to be saying in a minute. So as Dan is taking a nap, a man with a suit walks into the patient's room and kills him by pulling his skull apart. The nurse comes in, sees this, and starts screaming, which wakes up Dan, who chases the man. But the man gets in his car, covers himself with gasoline, and sets himself on fire, blowing up the car. The next morning, Ellie arrives to the hospital to identify the victim, who is her father. And the police, of course, have no useful answers for her.
Yeah. Wait, I'm not sure how that stuff works. I'm just like, why would she have to identify him? He's a patient he was already checked in. Couldn't they identify him? And also, isn't his head squished?
His head isn't squished. The killer grabs the bridge of his nose and pulls the skull apart, which I
still don't think they're going to have somebody come in and identify when you don't need to, because you're in a hospital where you've already been identified and checked in.
Was he identified and properly checked in? Because he was already unconscious.
How did they contact her then?
Yeah, that's a good, I don't know, grabbed his wallet. You know what? I don't know enough about how all this works.
I'm just saying they don't usually show victims' family when it's really brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, so the next day, Dan asks an assistant coroner what she has found regarding the killer's remains. She says that he was reduced to ash, so Dan asks her just to keep him posted. 2 more days till Halloween. Ellie finds Dan in a bar where she thanks him for going to her dad's funeral and asks if he saw anything that can help her figure out what happened. Dan, obviously still disturbed by the events of the other night and also obviously attracted to Ellie, goes with her to her father's toy store to help her investigate. Man is not afraid to just dive into some bullshit, man.
Sure. Poor lady.
Well, yes. Obviously, he's at least half thinking with little Don Chalice here.
Yeah.
Little Dan Chalice here. I do think he also is enthralled by the mystery and is pretty upset by what happened.
Yeah.
Here he is drinking in the middle of the day, which, although considering it doesn't seem like that's unusual for him. I know
it's also not as unusual for
Well, no, but
afternoon cocktails used to be a thing, a regular thing.
Well, sure, but he is just sitting in a bar by himself taking shots.
Sure, that's a little.
And also, earlier when he went to his wife's house, one of the first things she says, she smells him and she goes, "Oh, drinking and doctoring? That's a good combination." Yeah. But now that I think about it, she really just plays her character the same as she plays Annie, didn't she?
I guess.
like snarky and in this she's obviously more bitter because her husband just drives her fucking crazy. Yeah. Or her ex, whatever they are. Going through his records, they find that her dad had recently gone to pick up some more silver shamrock masks, which had been selling well. And Dan mentions that her dad had been holding a silver shamrock mask when he came into the hospital. Dan lets his ex-wife know that he's going to be a deadbeat again, but promises that he'll pick up the kids on Halloween instead, much to poor Annie's dismay. They go out to Santa Mira, where the Silver Shamrock factory is located, and they rent a cheap motel room. While checking in, Dan sees that Ellie's father's name is listed in the registry. This town is fucking weird, man. So Santa Mira is basically a small company town founded by Irish immigrants, which gives off this really weird vibe. Yep. There's loudspeakers and cameras everywhere. There is not much activity whatsoever. There's a 6 o'clock curfew, which
Yeah, why?
What the fuck? Would you ever live someplace with a 6 o'clock curfew? Literally get off of work and go home?
Yeah, but I'm also trying to think why. What's the purpose?
I don't know. It's never really explained.
Yeah, but even I'm thinking of the context of the movie. Why would they have to?
I don't know. It honestly, it doesn't make sense. And it particularly doesn't make sense when Dan, in a minute, goes to a liquor store, which is open after curfew.
Well, that makes sense.
but nobody can go to the liquor store.
I mean, but if anyone's going to break curfew,
it's going to be the drunks. So yeah, they meet some other motel guests before the curfew hits. While they're checking in, they meet some other motel guests, the Kupfers and Marge. They also end up banging because no women can resist Dr. Don Chalice and his amazing mustache.
Which, like, apparently this actress, like, she had never done, like, a love scene or anything, and in her contract was a no nipple clause.
Oh, is that why we get so much side and under boob, but no actual nip?
Yeah, she has an interview where she's actually talking about how, like, they really struggled with it, like, with the shower scene and, like, stuff. But yeah, it was a no nipple clause in the movie.
That's so weird. Yeah. I mean, okay.
She also said that Tom Atkins made it. She was really nervous, and he made her feel very comfortable. He was a gentleman.
Tom Atkins strikes me as quite the gentleman. He also strikes me as very much a ladies' man when he wants to be.
Sure. Also interesting. So Tom Atkins in the movie, it doesn't really matter, but he has a handkerchief hanging out of his back pocket the entire movie, which is only kind of funny because in the 80s, it was more common for gay people to use handkerchief as code.
Handkerchief code?
Yeah, but it was actually because he got super sick while he was making this movie. So he was like sick the entire time.
Oh, no!
So that's why he has a handkerchief just hanging out of his pocket.
And this poor girl has to like make out with him several times.
Yeah, he never got like diagnosed or anything, but he said he thinks he had walking pneumonia.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't go to work with walking pneumonia, guys.
Yeah, he said he was super sick.
That's awful. Oh, God. So after having some pneumonia sex, Dan goes to the liquor store, which for some reason is open despite the curfew. And on the way back, he meets a drunk homeless man who blames Cochran and Silver Shamrock for his woes. Dan gives him a drink, probably gets that guy sick. And then the guy warns Dan about the surveillance and talks mad shit about Cochran. Dan goes back to his motel, and two men in suits kill the homeless man by ripping his head clean off his body with their hands.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
Yep.
This definitely is not the bloodiest or most violent movie in the world, but there's a couple really good moments there.
Yeah.
Also, I do really love the atmosphere of this town. Like, it's so eerie and
it's like almost abandoned, but
yeah, and it feels dead, but the fact that you know people are actually there makes it real creepy like.
Yeah.
Also, you know, the cameras and the loudspeakers and all of that give it a real police state feel, which makes it even creepier, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Dan calls the coroner, who tells him that the ashes she's been sifting through are not human remains, and she believes that she's just been examining car parts. Dan goes back to his room for a drink and more banging with Ellie. And I think this is the scene where she says something to him that kind of implies that they had an affair, the coroner.
Oh.
Yeah. Or maybe it was another time that they're talking, but it seems like they had an affair. And
he's a womanizer. He
is definitely a womanizer. Katie mentioned, and I don't know that I agree with her, but I would have to watch the movie again to really like check. Mm-hmm. Katie mentioned that she got the impression that the affair with the coroner was actually what might have broken up Dan's marriage.
Oh, maybe.
I didn't catch that. I've watched this movie a million times, and I have not caught that, so I cannot say that I agree.
I've also never cared about his relationship with his wife. Not really a huge point in the movie.
It's just kind of there to be another, like...
So that he has kids... No, so he has kids to go back to.
Yeah,
but he has kids to worry about.
Right. It's there to provide another point of pressure for him.
Yeah.
But she is not a huge part of the movie.
No.
Other than just, you know, every once in a while he has to call her and she has to yell at him.
Yeah.
Because, take my wife.
It's just please. So he ends up having some sort of personal stakes in the movie.
Right. So we cut to Marge's room where after damaging a mask, she finds a microchip embedded in the tag. She starts fucking with it and it zaps her with some kind of like energy bolt.
Pretty funny.
It is pretty funny. It also like burns her face in this way that makes her mouth look like a destroyed butthole. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just all like...
Yeah.
And then, like, a cockroach or a spider or something comes crawling out of her mouth. Dan and Ellie are woken up as a van pulls in to pick up Marge, followed by Cochran, who tells Dan and Ellie that she will get the best care at the factory emergency treatment facility. But we do hear someone say that she was hit by a misfire. I don't know if it was the motel owner or one of the guys driving the van.
Yeah.
But either way, this shit is not quite adding up. And also, why would there be a facility like that in a toy factory? Company towns, man. Dear America, we do not want to go back to having towns like this. Seriously, they're awful.
Yeah. If Apple has their way, that's what they. Oh, and Amazon
and Google.
Yeah. No, didn't Amazon kind of make one in Nevada?
I think they made one in Mexico. It might be in Nevada.
Anyways,
but they haven't been successful.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of efforts to stop this from happening.
Yeah.
But we've got a few more years in which I think this is going to make a return. But we'll see. I could be wrong. Hope I'm wrong. But who knows? America's in a weird place right now.
Maybe the Great Destroyer will come and solve the problem.
Could only hope. So one more day till Halloween. Dan talks to the coroner again, and she thinks that somebody is tampering with the evidence because she still has found no human remains. And Dan asks her to look into Cochran for him. But as he hangs up, we see that the phone is bugged. His phone is bugged. So they go to the factory, initially finding nothing useful.
Which is interesting. Hold on.
Yes?
This is the actual factory where the masks are made.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, because the masks were made by Dawn Post Studio. And so I got conflicting information. Either the witch and skull had already been a mask and they made the pumpkin just for the movie, or the witch and the pumpkin were made just for the movie. But the skull is been around since the 60s. But
really?
Yeah.
It's a high quality skull.
Yeah, I thought so too. But they let him keep the rights to whatever masks they made for the movies. So they didn't have any rights to it. So he can still make them and sell them and everything. So then they asked if they could use the factory for shooting, and he was like, sure.
That's cool. I know I said this in another Halloween episode that we did last year, but I have heard throughout the years, I've heard a lot of people be like, why is it just 3 masks and why is one of them a pumpkin?
Why wouldn't one of them be a pumpkin? The Headless Horseman has been like a trope for a long time. There's always been masks of pumpkins for Halloween. Jack-o'-lanterns. They're not pumpkins, it's jack-o'-lanterns.
Yeah, I know.
That's not weird at all.
I don't think it's weird either. I could see thinking it's weird that apparently the biggest and best mask maker is only making 3 masks, which is really how they posit Silver Shamrock in this movie, that the Silver Shamrock masks are the masks that everybody wants.
Yeah, it's the fucking 80s. You don't have that many resources.
But when I was watching this last year, it did occur to me that the masks themselves are specifically green, white, and orange, which I think is supposed to be a reference to the Irish flag.
I didn't find anything about that, but
I just came up with this on my own. This was not something that I read anywhere or anything like that. And in fact, I don't think I was even really thinking about the movie at the time. It was one of those thoughts that just pops into your head really randomly.
Yeah.
And I was just doing something, and I was like, I wonder if those 3 masks.
Again, I got
Irish
a conflicting
flag.
thing about whether the witch mask was already made or not. But if it was, I know that they were 2 isn't enough. We need at least 1 more.
Sure.
But also, this didn't have a huge budget.
No. But I'm just saying, I don't.
And apparently, dude, this had a budget of $2.5 million, and they only spent $25,000 on special effects. And I assume the masks would have included in that.
I would assume so. Although, because even
the pivotal scene,
the few moments of gore are pretty.
Yeah, but so the one scene with the kid that we haven't gotten to yet, they only had 1 shot for that because they only had one of the masks that could stretch.
I don't think they needed more. It was a super
effective
effective
scene. But my point is they didn't spend a lot of money on the masks. So why do they only have 3? That's why.
Yeah. I do think.
And you saw the factory; it was full.
Oh yeah, for sure. I do think that the colors of the mask are supposed to be the Irish flag, though, because there is such a big deal made about the Irish heritage.
There is, but I honestly don't
Silver
think they thought about it.
And all of that.
I don't think they thought about it, but maybe.
I wonder if there's any way I could
As far as
Tommy
I know,
Wallace.
if you contact the director, he's pretty, because I don't know what else he's done, but he's on other like podcasts and stuff. It seems like he's more than happy to talk about this movie.
Really? Yeah. Shit. Maybe we'll have to redo this movie on some point when if we can get him on there. I would love to at the very least throw that theory at him and see what he says. It'll probably be like, nah, that's just a coincidence. But
I'm pretty sure it is.
yeah, we'll see.
But maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? They go to the factory, initially finding nothing useful, but run into the Cuffers, who are about to take a tour with Cochran, which Dan and Ellie join. Dan notices some armed guards who look really similar to the other men in suits, and Ellie notices her dad's car, which she very foolishly starts to run towards.
You know, sometimes you don't like think, you just act.
I know, but just you gotta know if you're in a weird if you're investigating a murder and you find something like that, don't run at it, especially if you're like there undercover, which Jesus Christ, what
they're not professionals. Like...
No, but you know what, if I go someplace and I know that I am not going as myself, I am not telling them that my name is Mr. Smith. Sure. Which Dan does. But yeah, so Dan and Ellie return to the motel and decide to leave and go get the police involved. Dan tries to make a phone call from the room and then the office, but both times gets like this pre-recorded message, which I believe is Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Returning to the room, he finds that Ellie has been kidnapped and the men in suits are starting to come after him. He escapes and tries to call from a payphone, but gets the same recorded message. He goes to the factory and breaks in, hoping to rescue Ellie. He finds an old woman knitting, but we find out that she's just like an elaborate machine, and one of the guards attacks him, and while fighting, he discovers that the guard is a robot by punching through his stomach and pulling some wires out. So 2 more guards arrive and capture Dan. Yeah, a lot of robots in this movie for a Halloween movie, but I think it works.
Thanks for joining us here at the Streaming Screams podcast. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and YouTube at Streaming Screams Pod.
You can also find us on TikTok and Blue Sky at Screams Pod.
Every follow, like, thumb, rating, review, subscription, and share all help us out a lot with all the algorithm shit.
So if you like what we're doing, please rate us wherever you get your podcasts, like our posts, all that other good internet bullshit. And again, thank you for listening to
the Streaming Screams Podcast.
Now it's Happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween.
Silver Shamrock.
So Cochran, for some reason, explains his plan to Dan. They have the stolen Stonehenge rock, which was mentioned on the news report earlier, and they are using some parts of the rock in the microchips that they are manufacturing, that they are attaching to the mask to perform some magic ritual that involves a bunch of TVs set up around Stonehenge rock. It is a wild setup.
So silly.
It's so, you know what? It is very silly, but I'm going to hand them this. It's original.
I know, but I'm
It's
like, why
unique.
isn't this in the UK if it has to do with Stonehenge?
Because the movie was made in California and they had a budget.
Sure. You could find some place and just say it's the UK.
I mean, it worked out really well for Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Worst looking UK ever.
Yeah.
I believe I've been to some of those areas.
Maybe. Oh, well, actually, just because of what saying. So this movie was like heavily inspired by Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh, yeah,
like to where they actually filmed in some of the locations. Like when he's on like the payphone and stuff, it said like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's great. It's a weird fucking movie if you sit and think about it for a minute.
Yeah, but that's what I like about it is it's unique. It's original. It's not.
Yeah, it's not cookie cutter. It's different. I have not really seen anything, I've seen plenty of movies that have some similarities, but like it is actually a fairly original and unique movie. And man, I get that the Halloween series continuing was what inspired the movie's creation, but I think they really did this movie a disservice saddling it with the Halloween 3 title.
Yeah, it's just I understand like being like, I understand the idea of an anthology series. It would be cool if even today we had like we knew like a Halloween movie, some theme of Halloween movies coming out every year. But you already set up like a franchise.
Right.
And like, I agree that they probably should have stopped with the Michael too, because it doesn't end up any better after.
No.
But making it connected to like two movies that are like one story.
Yeah.
And then not even telling people that also, it doesn't make sense.
If they had done this for Halloween 2, I could have seen it possibly working.
Absolutely.
As long as they advertised it correctly.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. Honestly, this is one of those movies.
And now we can't use the Halloween name for an anthology series.
This is one of those movies that I would actually really like to see get remade.
What about All Hallows Eve?
That's already a thing.
Oh, God damn it.
That's where we got Art the Clown.
Damn it. See, that's what I'm saying. Everything's taken now. It's too late. It's over. Ruined.
You fucked it up. Whose stupid decision was this? It wasn't John Carpenter's.
It was John Carpenter and Hill's idea because they refused to do another Michael Myers movie.
Yeah. Guys.
But they didn't do the advertising.
Right. Well, whoever did the advertising, good job. You fucking ruined Halloween forever. The tears of millions of children are on your hands.
That's why there isn't as many kids out now.
That's right.
To this day.
That's right.
Because of this movie.
Everybody goes to one neighborhood now because of you. Now I have to fight to make this neighborhood a destination neighborhood for trick-or-treaters because of you. Oh, man. Anyway. So Cochran shows Dan, while explaining his ridiculousness, Cochran shows Dan the security monitors, which show Ellie tied up in one room, Marge's corpse in another, and the Kupfer family in what looks like a living room. A new version of the Silver Shamrock commercial comes on. It's the one that's going to be shown on TV after the big giveaway tonight.
What is the giveaway? You want a mask? Right?
They don't say.
Oh, okay.
They just say, watch the Horror-thon, which is one movie. It's just Halloween.
Yeah. Which Michael Myers is technically in the movie.
Technically.
Pedantically, must say.
We do see his feet in this movie.
No, you see him standing in the stairwell.
Oh,
like
that's
doorway.
right. That's right.
Mm-hmm. He is in it.
He is technically in it. But yeah, they say they're going to show a horror-thon, which is just going to be one movie, and then a big giveaway at 9. And they don't say what the big giveaway is.
Yeah.
There's also like never any information on entering a contest or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't know how that whole thing was supposed to work. But obviously it wasn't, because it's just a ploy to get kids to put on their masks and watch this commercial. So yeah, it's the commercial that's going to be doing the giveaway, promising something to kids who wear their masks while watching the commercial. So Buddy Jr. is wearing his mask and he is excited about it. So after all the normal stuff, a flashing jack-o'-lantern is shown on the screen, the jack-o'-lantern that we saw in the opening credits. Yeah. And Buddy Jr. seems to get a headache and the mask seems to start deteriorating and like melting before he collapses and a shitload of bugs and snakes come crawling out of his mask. The snakes also kill the Kupfer parents. After the video, Dan is led away, and we see a montage of children all over the country buying masks, trick-or-treating, and being reminded about the big giveaway. We see Dan's own kids wearing their masks, getting ready to watch. One thing that I thought was interesting about this scene is how really inconsistent a lot of the costumes are with these masks. Which I like it. Which I like. I really liked the kid wearing a pirate costume, but wearing this pumpkin mask.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Or there's a girl in a fairy costume on a skateboard with, I think, another pumpkin mask, or maybe it's a witch mask.
I think it's a witch.
Yeah. There's a girl in a fairy costume with a witch mask, and then a ballerina on a skateboard wearing the pumpkin mask. We see a clown with the skull mask. I actually really like this.
I wish kids were more creative, not just playing characters nowadays.
Yeah. Less, I don't know, who's the big Marvel character?
I was going to say Disney princesses.
Yeah, less Disney princesses, more skull pirates.
Yeah.
Or pumpkin pirates.
Either one.
Pumpkin pirates would be a good band name.
Start it.
It should. It'd be a good like horror punk band name. Yeah. Pumpkin pirates. Mm-hmm. I think I might actually try to start
every
that.
year. Just release a Halloween. So you make the anthology thing, but a music album.
Oh yeah. It's also funny that Silver Shamrock seems to have trucks driving all over the country with loudspeakers telling kids to rush home.
Yeah.
And while I love the mix and match costumes that they have here, I cannot imagine a single fucking kid hearing that and being like, oh yeah, let's stop trick-or-treating and go home.
Yeah, it would have to be like the day before or something.
Yeah, which doesn't work because the ritual has to be done on Halloween.
Yeah.
It's also funny that time zones don't seem to be a thing here. Because they show this, they show this happening in New York, California, and like Iowa or Illinois, all at the same time, and just whatever. It's 9 o'clock all over the U.S. in this world, I guess.
Meh.
So we then go to the coroner's office where she seems to come to some sort of realization, and right as she's going to call the cops, one of the guards shows up and kills her with a power drill to the head. And I think that this scene is kind of funny because she's just looking at the same dirt, ash, and spring mechanisms. There is nothing that I can see here that would lead anybody to the conclusion that they're robots disguised as people doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know what conclusion she came to, but it's just this really sloppy moment, in my opinion. After all of this, Cochrane tells Dan that he's carrying on the ancient Celtic tradition of ritual sacrifice on Halloween. He leaves Dan tied up with a mask on and a TV showing the movie Halloween that will eventually lead to the big giveaway commercial. I do like his little spiel about the, strange customs of putting on masks and begging for candy and the hills running red with the blood of children and animals. And
yeah,
it's a good speech. Not totally accurate to the druidic tradition, although not 100% inaccurate either. But either way, so Dan escapes, calls his ex-wife, finding that the phones in the factory still actually work, and tries to convince her to get rid of the Silver Shamrock masks, but she just basically tells him to get fucked and hangs up. So she's not gonna save the kids because she thinks that he's just jealous, which is, what he's saying sounds fucking crazy. So I would just think that he was drunk and being a dick. He finds Ellie and grabs a box of these microchips. And they make their way to the control room where he activates the commercial playing on the TVs in the factory and then throws the microchips, scattering them about. There's this great gag here that I always forget about and I laugh every single time I watched the movie, where like he and Ellie sneak into this area by pushing a like rack of masks and hiding behind it, and it's so Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. It is
like some Metal Gear Solid Scooby-Doo nonsense. And there's just no way that he wouldn't have been immediately caught.
Yeah.
It's very funny. So as the commercial plays, the microchips all start firing.
I don't know. I was gonna say when I play not Until Dawn. No, that's the one. That's the movie we just did. No.
Although it is based on a game, it seems to have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, but not that movie.
You'll hear about that whenever that episode comes out, if it's not already out.
Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight.
And Dead by Daylight, you're like 4 survivors trying to get away from a killer. I have many times just crouched down and faced a corner and had a killer run right by me. So I'm just saying.
Wow. That's pretty good.
I'm like, just don't move.
Well, but they are moving this whole time. And that's the thing, is what would have caught my eye is just a rack of masks moving by itself,
Yeah, that's true.
They totally should have put the little tiptoe sound effect in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as the commercial plays, these things all start firing and killing a bunch of android workers. Cochrane, however, seems unaffected. Lightning bolts shoot towards him, or energy bolts or whatever, shoot towards him, and it looks to me like he turns into stone and then disappears.
Stonehenge.
Sure, but does he die? Did he just succeed? And if so, why does he need to kill all the children in the world?
I never understood the killing the kids thing. Like, I understand that that's the plan, but why?
It's a sacrifice.
But why? For what? What is the goal?
To honor the I don't know.
Because it seems like, they had to buy this town. They had to build the robots. There has to be some greater purpose. And what does the ritual do?
I don't know. They don't explain it. I'm
assuming it's for him to like live longer or something, because they've confirmed that he's supposed to be like centuries old.
Did they?
Not in the movie, but like outside of it.
So was he there 3,000 years ago when the hills ran red with the blood of animals and children?
Yeah, I guess. So, but they never do explain it.
Yeah, they don't.
They're like, we have a ritual to do. We got to kill these kids.
And he basically just sort of plays it as like, nobody's really done these sacrifices in a long time, so we're going to do it right, and we're just going to kill all the kids.
Ooh.
Yeah. He also says it's a great prank because it's a prank on the children, which is a funny way of looking at it.
Sure. That's what he's just like, I've lived for so long. You know how long these kids have been annoying me? I'm going to play the ultimate prank on all kids.
Okay, boomer. Yeah. He turns into stone and then disappears, and I don't know if this is him dying or if it's him getting like his wish, or if he's just teleporting away or becoming one with Stonehenge or what. But everything in the room starts sparking and starts to go up in flames, and so the factory burns down.
Yeah.
Dan leads Ellie to the car and they drive off, escaping Santa Mira, but the commercial is still scheduled to go off in about 15 minutes when Ellie attacks Dan, causing him to crash the car and revealing that she's been replaced by an android. Dan fights off Android Ellie, destroying it.
Mm-hmm. It's a cool little scene because it's her head's on the side and then there's her body.
Yeah.
And she's like still alive.
Yeah, but like has like some real clockwork movement going on.
Well, it's just her head and then the body's down. Yeah.
I do like how it doesn't occur to you that she hasn't said a word since the rescue until this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, yeah. I guess that's why she didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So after fighting off the android, Dan makes his way to the same gas station that Ellie's father went to at the beginning of the movie, where Dan gets on the phone and pleads with a technician at the TV station to take the commercial off the air, saying that everyone will die. And it is bonkers to me that the technicians actually try to accommodate. There's a TV in the gas station, and we see that the commercial starts to play, but somehow he convinces the technician to cut it just as the commercial begins. So the commercial stops with the technical difficulties message. They change the channel to another station, which is also showing the commercial, which gets cut off. And then they switch to a third channel, and the commercial continues uninterrupted. And as the flashing jack-o'-lantern appears, Dan gets more and more hysterical, screaming over and over to stop the commercial, finally directing one last stop it directly at the audience before the movie abruptly ends, leaving the fate of Dan's children and the children all across America unknown. Yeah, I love the ending. The
ending is also an homage to Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, doesn't that movie end with somebody yelling directly at the camera?
It depends which version you watch. The original didn't end that way, but was supposed to, but then the studios made them have like a happier ending. So eventually like scientists come and like are like, oh, we're going to save the day. Mm-hmm. But if you watch like other cuts that are like probably like a director's cut or whatever, it does end that way. And that's pretty much canon, because then in the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, it starts with that exact same actor in the middle of the road screaming at everybody. That
oh, really?
Yes.
So is the remake a sequel?
Kind of. Yeah. Depends how you want to look at it. So yeah, they were like, fuck this, because this was before there was the recap of them just leaving it where it was supposed to be. Yeah. So this was them being like, you know what, fuck the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The original ending's better. We're going to do it.
Yeah. And I agree. I think, you know, obviously this isn't what I would call a scary movie, but that like one moment is really good. Tom Atkins does a really good job with everything he's got in this movie.
Yeah.
He plays a womanizing alcoholic who doesn't put his family first really well.
Yeah.
But he is endlessly charming, very likable. And this bit of panic at the end is great. Absolutely great. Yeah. I don't know if I said this earlier, I would really like to see a remake of this movie. Yeah. I don't see a point to remaking movies that are like classics or legendary or are considered great movies.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to remake something, I always like it when somebody remakes a movie that was great but didn't like get its due, or had potential that it didn't live up to.
Yeah.
And I think that this movie is very much one of them. I think calling it Halloween 3 did a huge disservice to the Halloween franchise, but it also did a huge disservice to this movie, as we discussed earlier. I think if they had just called it Season of the Witch and advertised it properly, I think it would have been a much more well-appreciated movie. Probably still a cult classic.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would have been derided nearly as much.
Yeah.
It's very unique. It's got actually original ideas. It has a vibe to it. It does have this creepy vibe to it.
Yeah.
And some cool concepts, and Tom Atkins and his porn stash.
You could really do something too with like witchcraft and data centers being everywhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it would actually probably work better today.
Yeah.
Because, you know, back then they just had like the 3 TV channels was basically what they were working with. And I mean, I think there were more channels in existence, but I know that at the time there were basically 3 big channels.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that there's a lot more you could do. Also, just with like technology being so much more advanced than it was in the early 80s. Yeah. I think the idea of the robots would make more sense.
Sure.
Because they wouldn't just be complicated clockwork. They could
automatons.
You could work some fear of AI into this. You could work, the whole company town angle could be used to explore like some of the issues that we're dealing with in America right now. And of course, just the fact that everybody is interconnected very directly through the internet would be a really good way to perform this ritual. Yeah.
This movie's supposed to have a really strong message, too. Tommy Lee Wallace said. He said the song and the movie is supposed to be a warning against consumerism and predatory advertising.
Well, that second line is very interesting and somewhat ironic, because wasn't there a problem with false advertising on this movie? Sure. Yeah, no, totally. I can...
Again, he didn't advertise it.
Yeah,
that's somebody else's job.
Some other predator. No, so the song, I don't know how there's supposed to be a strong message in that, but
because I think it's just because it's really catchy and it sticks in your head, and so then it makes like kids want stuff.
Yeah, that's true. And I can definitely see the predatory advertising aimed at kids, which was also a really huge problem back then. Yeah. I assume it's still a problem, but like I know there was most of the cartoons that we loved were really just commercials for...
I didn't have it, but always wanted it because of that goddamn theme song where you like shoot the balls at each other.
Crossfire?
Yeah, Crossfire. Yeah. And I'm like, I only wanted it because the commercials look cool and I still sing that song sometimes today.
You know what? We actually had that.
I heard it sucked.
It was pretty...
It barely shot or anything.
We didn't necessarily have too many problems with that, but you couldn't fire off that rapidly or it would jam.
You get caught up in the crossfire. Crossfire!
I'll tell you what, though. It was a very noisy game. And so there were a few instances where they would kind of give that game as a gift to kids, like real passive aggressively, like here's this obnoxious, noisy, thing for your kids to play with.
Hungry Hungry Hippos is really loud.
Hungry Hungry Hippos was really loud and also awesome.
Yeah.
But
they were supposed to make a movie about that.
Did they ever?
No, they didn't.
I remember that being a thing.
It's like, what?
Dude. I feel like this is chilling out a little bit, but there's a minute where they would make fucking movies out of anything. Yeah. Like they were really scraping the bottom of the barrel for ideas. Look, I still say the idea that they made movies out of rides at Disneyland is stupid.
Yeah, but it also ruined the rides.
It did ruin the rides. I think it
ruined Disneyland because Disneyland, they had Fantasyland, and that's where the Disney stuff was. Right. And then the rest was just surreal shit.
Oh, I absolutely hated the last time I went on Pirates of the Caribbean and
It's all about Jack.
It's all about Jack Sparrow. And I assume that they have fixed this since, but it was like real clumsily shoehorned in when I went. And because the last time I was at Disneyland was like 2007. It was a long time ago. I'm not a Disney adult.
Yeah.
You know, I don't, unless Katie and I at some point have kids, I don't care if I never go there again.
Yeah.
But it really was annoying how clumsily shoehorned it was, because like you just be going on the ride and it would be like the normal Pirates of the Caribbean that you knew and loved as a kid, and then there would be like an audio insert that was way louder than the rest of the audio going on, that was just some guy being like, oh, we need to search for Jack Sparrow, Captain Jack Sparrow, and you're like, I'm trying to watch this guy like chase the beer wench around, you know? Like there's nothing related to the movie here, but you just hear somebody being like, I think Captain Jack Sparrow went this way, and you're like, shut up.
It's still pretty much like that.
Yeah, okay, that's really annoying.
I mean, I still haven't been in a while, but sooner than
Yeah. Like I said, not a Disney adult. No, never care if I don't go back. But like,
I never been there.
I would actively be less interested now because of this shit.
Yes, but I never been to Disney World, but they used to have like a Nordic mythology boat ride.
Oh, that's cool as shit.
Now it's frozen.
Whack.
Exactly.
That's so whack.
And I'm like, well, now I'm not interested.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I've never seen the Haunted Mansion movie.
Which one?
Who cares? Like, I didn't actually know there were more than one.
There's an Eddie Murphy one that everybody hates.
Uh-huh.
There's a Muppets one. That's worth watching.
I mean, anything Muppets is worth watching.
And then there's a newer one that I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
But they redid it.
No interest.
Because everyone hated the Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, no interest whatsoever.
Yeah.
Oh man, what kind of weird. But yeah, point being, there was a while where they would make movies out of fucking anything, and yeah, I do remember Hungry Hippos going into pre-production at least, and I think maybe the Emoji Movie killed all this. Because that is a fucking low in filmmaking. I've never seen it. I don't need to see it, but the fact that somebody was like, hey, let's make a movie about the dumb little pictures that people put into text messages.
Yeah.
So stupid. So stupid. Whoever thought of that, I hope their spouse left them over it. Just terrible. Like they deserve nothing good in life. What a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Idiots. Yeah. So how do you like Halloween 3?
Yeah, I like it. Like I said, it's original.
Yeah.
It's unique. Something different.
Yeah. Who would you recommend it for?
I'd recommend it during Halloween for anyone who hasn't seen it. It's just a Halloween movie. Yeah. You don't even have to see Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need a Halloween movie you've never seen? Watch it.
Yeah, I agree. And it's especially if you're looking for something that's a little bit different, that isn't, super cookie cutter and that you haven't seen a bunch of times before. This is a good one. It's
not gratuitous.
No, there's
a no nit policy.
No, it's actually very it's a real easy to watch one, because it's not that we have anything against gore or anything like that. But this is one you can literally put on just like after work, you want to watch something that's not going to be like too traumatizing to your kids.
And if you like a mystery.
Yeah. It's a nice little mystery. It's got got a few Irish American tidbits here.
Which is also weird because Stonehenge is not in Ireland.
No, but Druids. The Celtic region spanned for much more than just Ireland. It definitely, it took up a lot of the UK and Wales.
No, I get that, but they specifically are Irish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that makes it all the better that they managed to steal a thing of Stonehenge, because they could just, stick it to England a little bit more. Those limey pieces of shit. Do I have to cut that line out?
I don't think so.
Is limey considered like offensive?
To somebody, but white people.
Yeah, probably some limey piece of shit. Watch, it could be what gets us canceled. calling people limeys. Yeah, no, I agree. Good movie. Jessica, play us out.
One more day till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. One more day till Halloween. Silver Shamrock.